This passage is a research passage. It's passage 3. We know it's research because it's comparing study 1, study 2, study 3. For research passages in our DRC approach, we're going to read, but not carefully. We're just going to read lightly, skim the details, and look for the process and the differences between the studies. So as we look at this passage, it looks like they're studying the seeds of plants that attract ants. Study 1, they have 2 different species, and they're looking at different masses are composed of those seeds. So we see species A, mass, allosome mass per seed, and percent of seed mass composed of allosomes. So some data. Study 2 looks like we have 3 different sites, and it looks like different types of plants were placed at the different sites, and they're placing seeds at the site. In study 3, they're planting seeds and observing ants in similar environments where the seeds have been planted. And that's it. Now we're going to go to the questions. Number 13, based on the results of study 3, one can generalize that compared to hand planting of seeds, that's that column, ant planting of seeds results in. So let's just go through the answers. Increased seed germination, that's this first line, and ant planted seeds do have an increase in seed germination. So your answer is A. You could process eliminate the other 3 if you have time, but answer is A. Number 14, we're using study 2, and it says which of the following variables was controlled in the design. So we see they placed 20 seeds of each species, so the number of seed dishes placed at each site, G. Number 15, according to the results of the studies, so we're not pointed to one particular study, species A and B are most similar in there, but if we look at study 1, we see that's where they're most compared, and we see this number that's the same, 6.2, and that is the percentage of seed mass, and that is choice C. Percentage of mass per seed is the same, so C. Number 16, in study 2, how was site 3 used? Well, let's look at the answers. It says preference of different ant species for both plant species, but it tells us in the reading both plants were absent in site 3, so that one can't be correct. In choice G, we see plant species were absent, which is true, and then we have seed preference. When we look at the table, we see they are also looking at seed preference, so our answer is G. Number 17, we're using study 2, in which the following is a weakness of the design. So let's do process of elimination. Some plants were not present at each site. Well, we just explored this in the previous question. We were determining what was the purpose of site 3. And site 3 was to not have plants to see which seeds the ants preferred in the absence of plants. So A is wrong. Choice B, some seeds were not present at each site. Well, it tells us in the reading seeds were present at each site. So B is wrong. And choice C and D is asking about the seeds may have been removed by animals other than ants or eaten by animals other than ants. And we see in the table, they're talking about the removal of seeds. So the answer has to be C. Number 18, the results of study 2 suggest which of the following factors most affects the seed preference of ants. If we look at table 2, we can see the seed preference based on the site. So in site 1, they prefer species A, in site 2, they prefer species B, and in site 3, they're about equal. So what's the difference in those sites? Well, we see that up above at in that first paragraph, species A plants were absent, and they preferred species A seeds. Species B plants were absent, they prefer species B seeds. Both plants were absent, about equal. So which one talks about the absence of plants? Well, choice J does, the abundance of a plant, right? The abundance of one, the absence of the other. So your answer is J.